guys, it's Dan here with a tag, which I will admit I never do tags. I very rarely do tags. And to be honest, the reason why I don't do tags is I feel like they're kind of a waste of time. But this one, on the other hand, I find to be very interesting because this one kind of gives you like an idea, kind of gauges whether we can vibe or not on books we enjoy. And I want to throw out there, I'm not dogging any books that maybe some of these are your personal faves. I'm not dogging them. I'm not shitting on them. I just never am I ever going to read these books. And that's why I thought this tag sounded interesting. I know traditionally you're supposed to tag the creator of this tag, but I don't know. I don't know, and I really don't care who created this tag. I don't have the time. Ain't nobody got time for that. I ain't got no time to go and track down to find out who originally created this tag. So it doesn't really matter to me. The first question is, a popular book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. There are so many books that I can name. The Twilight series. I love vampires. I fucking love vampires. But I cannot bring myself to read vampires who sparkle. I mean, it was one thing that they're vampires that can survive in the daylight. I can live with that. I can live with that. Because there was American Vampire. I can live with it. But I just can't deal with the whole throwing in the romance aspect of that and the fact that they sparkle. No, thank you. Harry Potter. I have zero desire to read the Harry Potter series. I know those books came out after, so I'm not the target audience. I think people that are a lot younger than me, that you guys grew up reading that. But, you know, I'm not dogging them. Not dogging them. If that's your thing, I'm never going to read that stuff. I could go on and on. There's like a number of books that I just have no desire to read. Number 2, a classic book or author you don't have an interest in reading. I'm going to have to say, is her name Charlotte Bronte? Maybe that's a fictional character for all I know. See, that's how out of touch I am. But I do not want to read Little Women. I don't know if that's the author of Little Women. I don't really care. I just have zero desire to read Little Women. Like I said, not dogging it. If that's a book you really enjoyed, it's not anything that I ever want to read or desire to read. There's a couple. I mean, like, I totally want to read Anne of Green Gables over Little Women. I mean, yeah, but I have zero desire to read Little Women or some of those other classics that are possibly by that author. I just have zero desire to read those. Number 3, an author whose books you have no interest in reading. I watched a number of these anti-TBR tags, and the last one I watched was from Chrisfromthebasement, and he mentioned that he had no desire in reading is it Brandon Sanderson? Or Brian? I don't know who it is, but it's fantasy series. I have zero desire to read anything written by that author. And I'm not really a big fantasy person either. I mean, I have read some fantasy in the past. Like, I love Robert E. Howard's Conan, but that's about as far as fantasy as I'm going to go. But yeah, have no desire to read anything by that author. Number 3, a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading, and they give the example of 50 Shades of Grey. That's another one that I'm never going to read those books. Never. Just not for me. An author you have read a couple of books from and have decided... This is question number 4, by the way. An author you have read a couple of books from and have decided their books are not for you. Ooh, this is a tough one because I don't know that I have read a couple of books from an author that I just don't care to read any more books from. I'm going to say this one I've yet to discover an author that I've read a couple books from that I'm just not interested in reading. I don't know, I might come across someone someday, but I'm not going to... I say right now I don't. Number 5, a genre you have no interest or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't. Even though, like, I've said in a number of reviews that I like seeing a little bit of romance sometimes makes a book fun, I will never go out of my way to seek and read romance. Not gonna happen. And this question kind of made me think about another genre. It's like a subgenre in horror. Someone had approached me. I don't even remember the author's name, but I think at the time I wasn't really... I thought the way they approached me was kind of rude to begin with about reviewing their book. And then once I got the book description, like, there's this one guy who always, like, I think I blocked him eventually because he would always post on my Twitter timeline, you know, review my book, and I'm like, I'm not interested in reading that, guys, sorry. And, like, he just kept spam posting on my Twitter feed. And then another guy, like, sent me this link for a book, and it was furry porn / horror. And I think the title was called Burnt Fur or something like that. I have zero desire to read anything about furries. Not kink shaming anyone, not dogging you if you're into that. No. No thank you. No. Never going to read that. And I think it was so awkward that the way that he approached reviewing his book that I just kind of pretended like I didn't see it, and he just never pursued it again. So I was kind of glad he wasn't as persistent as the other guy. Number 6, a book you have bought but will never read. This can be a book you have unhauled, returned to the library, unread, etc., etc. I'm going to say this is going to be, and I know a lot of people love this series, but they're chunkers. I mean, these books are fucking chunkers. The Game of Thrones series. I maybe watched 1 or 2 episodes of that show. Wasn't interested in it. I just thought it seemed like one of those, like, Skinamax kind of movies. It just seemed like softcore porn. And I was just like, yeah, I don't see what the big deal is. I went and bought a number of books in that series. And I was like, well, maybe they might be good because everybody's raving about this show and some people were raving about the books. And I'd never read anything by George R.R. Martin, but being the fact that they are chunkers, I think I'm going to stay away from them. I'm probably more than likely going to unhaul them because I don't think I'm ever going to read them. And the sad thing is I bought like almost all of the books up to a certain point, and yeah, it seems like such a waste. But yeah, I don't even know where they are in my house, but I should get them together and kind of just unhaul them, just get rid of them, because I have I don't have no time to read something I probably will not enjoy. Number 7, a series you have no interest in reading or a series you started and didn't finish. I didn't start the Game of Thrones, but I just have no interest in reading that. I just have no desire to read that one. That one and the YA books, The Maze Runner, I have no desire to read those. I don't really read YA, and that was one of the things that made being a booktuber so tough and such a struggle. Back when I started my channel, it seemed like everybody and their brother was a YA booktuber, and I stuck out like a sore thumb because I didn't read YA. And I still don't really read YA. I tried to read a few to try to fit more into that booktube early days niche, but yeah, wasn't vibing. 8. A new release you have no interest in reading, and I feel like the way Chris from the Basement felt about this one, there's just not anything on my radar that, you know, I'm like, unless you're talking comics, if you're talking comics, there are a shit ton of comics that are coming out this month in December 2020 that I want to read, but that's not the typical BookTube response. That's not what they're looking for, I don't think. But yeah, I can't think of anything that's new release. I mean, Ready Player 2, I mean, I read Ready Player 1 and loved it, gave it a 5-star rating and review, but I don't know if I'm in such a big rush to want to read the second book, so I'm not going to say that that's going to count as not interested in reading, because I might want to read it someday, but aside from that, there's really nothing on my radar that I don't really know. And it looks like those are all of the questions. So thank you for tuning in to this anti-TBR book tag. Hopefully we can agree on some of these. Some of these I'm afraid you guys are going to hate me for my answers. Because, like, it is what it is. And I wonder how many subscribers I'm probably going to lose. Because maybe I just don't like a book that you love, and yeah, it's what it is. But thank you for watching. If you made it this far, if you're looking for book reviews and book recommendations, which is what I usually normally film, I do not hardly, if ever, film tags. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit that notification bell. And if you got something out of this video, if you enjoyed watching this video, please donate to my coffee, as I'm not receiving AdSense. Buy me a coffee or 2 or 3. I could use the energy and the motivation. But this has been Dan. This has been a tag. You have been you. Be good to each other and stay healthy. Later.